We tonight are in the midst of a nasty system that is, shall I say, making it rain. Constant drizzle, making it a very difficult time on the commute tonight.
It is, but you know what they say, the sun will come out tomorrow, so that is music to our ears. But David Paul, how's it looking?
It has been one of those Houston days. Cloudy, rainy, drizzly, dreary, and cold, and it continues tonight. But tomorrow things change. I expect some sunshine's gonna come out. If it does, enjoy it, because it won't last. Clouds and rain are forecast to knock the sun out of here as the dreary weather rolls right back in on Thursday. Coming up, I'll show you what this means for the weekend forecast, for the World Championship Barbecue Cook-Off, and what the trail riders heading in toward Memorial Park are facing as we head toward the weekend.
David, tomorrow we'll finally hear what Mayor Turner has to say about the questionable HPD drug raid that killed a husband and wife in their home and wounded 4 officers.
And while their family waits for answers, another family says they are still waiting after something similar happened to their loved one 6 years ago.
Larry Seward talked with the daughter, who is hopeful change is coming. Larry?
Len, Chief Art Acevedo met with a family member last night. He apologized for their loss, but he also asked for patience.
Ponciano Montemayor was sick, bronchitis, healing in a northeast Houston bedroom 6 years ago when a group in all black snuck up before the sun and, based on info from an informant, kicked in doors, broke windows, and opened fire.
There was supposed to be high amounts of marijuana in the house, and when they went, they found nothing. I don't know if my dad knew that that was a police officer. I guess they said he went to retrieve a handgun when they broke the window and they shot him through his bedroom window.
Andrea, his only daughter, says neither police nor prosecutors ever explained what happened, and because the officers were undercover, records were sealed. Even after grand jurors no-billed the officers involved, the city held on to Montemayor's home surveillance camera and recorder. His family believes it shows exactly what happened.
They took that after the incident happened and they never gave it back. Everything, they took family photos, just little random stuff from the house. It's just heart-wrenching knowing that I have nephews and I have children now. And it's possible that something like this can happen to them or their kids. It's just not right.
HPD's botched drug raid on Harding Street brought back memories, bad ones, that her aunt laid before Chief Acevedo and DA Kim Ogg last night with demands. Inspect and verify info in every warrant.
I don't want you to judge us by what would have happened last administration, the administration before that. You know, we've had 2 of our officers from our investigations after officer-involved shootings that right now are facing prosecution.
For Montemayor, waiting is the hardest part.
Members of City Council heard Montemayor's story and promised to follow up with the family. Meanwhile, I'll tell you that family is very interested in hearing what the mayor and police chief have to say about the Harding drug raid tomorrow afternoon. Live downtown, Larry Seward, KHOU 11 News.
So how did we get here? On the evening of January 28th, armed with a search warrant, Houston police raided a home on Harding Street in southeast Houston. They claimed a confidential informant had bought drugs and saw guns inside.
Narcotics activity was going on in that residence, specifically the sale of black tar heroin.
In a shootout with a couple who lived there, police killed Dennis Tuttle and Regina Nicholas. 5 officers were injured, 4 of them shot. The next day, police revealed they recovered small amounts of marijuana and cocaine inside, but no heroin and no 9mm handgun described in the warrant.
Most people would call it a day after being shot and surviving. This man is 54 years old. He's the case agent on this case, and he was there in the front lines. If that doesn't tell you about the heart of the men and women we have the privilege to lead, I don't know what will.
Police Chief Art Acevedo praised the case agent shot in the jaw for his bravery and courage. Just over a week later, the case begins to unravel as a veteran narcotics officer named on the warrant is relieved of duty. Then on February 15th, Chief Acevedo drops a bombshell.
When you lie on an affidavit, that's not sloppy. That's a crime.
Announcing the case agent the officer shot in the jaw will likely face criminal charges. Why? The chief says he lied about the confidential informant making a controlled drug buy at the house.
There's a difference between lying about who did the buy and not doing it by at all.
New tonight, Harris County deputies are looking for this guy. He is the Cypress softball coach who was accused of assaulting a grandmother at a game last Saturday at Dias Park, and there's video.
Hey, go ahead. There you go.
59-year-old Donna Edwards says she started recording video of a teenager who was yelling and cursing and disrupting the game. That's when Edwards says Coach James Schmidt lunged at her, trying to take her phone. Turns out that teen was the coach's son. Edwards says when she refused to give up her phone, Schmidt pushed her to the ground and assaulted her. Schmidt has been charged with assault but has not been found yet.
I hope he gets some help as a person. I feel really sad that he has to go through this, but he cannot be on a softball field being abusive to little girls, parents, other people that don't do what he wants them to do. He's a bully.
He's not going to be on a softball field anytime soon. He has been barred by the league from softball fields and coaching. Constables also issued a protective order to keep him away from Edwards.
There you go.
The Deer Park dad who slapped a 12-year-old boy says he regrets it, but told us he was standing up for his stepdaughter because the boy had been bullying her for weeks. James Peace says the boy had been calling his stepdaughter names, even throwing rocks and ice cream at her. Peace says he only meant to have a talk with the boy, but things escalated, and he says his emotions got the best of him.
I wish it would have gone differently. Maybe I should have, where's his parents at? I probably should have walked him home and talked to his parents, but I didn't like where his mouth was taking him and what he was saying. And if, like I said, if I wasn't intimidating him, what were they doing to her every day?
Mr. Peace is charged with injury to a child, but says he's ready to deal with the consequences. If convicted, he could get up to 5 years in prison. This story has a lot of you fired up on our Facebook page. Go there, join the conversation.
Keep recording now. Keep recording now. Keep recording now.
You're all right.
Look at what you're doing.
A beautiful photo shoot turns ugly when an irate neighbor tries to kick this family off a public walkway. We showed you this disturbing video yesterday. Obviously not the right way to handle things, but that neighborhood is known for public photo shoots because it is so beautiful. We've done stories before about frustrated homeowners who want just peace and quiet. Lauren Tallarico joins us from that neighborhood, but Lauren, being a frustrated homeowner is not unique to just there.
Of course, and Mia, that fight happened right here behind me. And of course, there is a right and a wrong way to deal with things, but whether it is public access or an over-the-top HOA, these are tips we should all keep in mind when deciding where to live. Whether it's new construction, over-the-top celebrations, or a crazy traffic pattern, for the past 16 years, Christy Borden has been helping her real estate clients navigate the pros and cons of buying and selling in Greater Houston.
There's always something that you do not anticipate when you're buying a home. And then you think, gosh, if I'd asked that question before, then I would maybe not have bought in this community.
For example, if you're attracted to a certain feature, say a water view or picturesque boulevard, chances are so is everyone else, even if they don't live there. So what is the public's access, and are you okay with it?
If you're not in a gated community, then that access is probably a right-of-way, which means that even the HOA cannot restrict people that want to do lawful activities.
Moving to the country for those beautiful sprawling views? Keep this in mind.
Just remember that any land adjoining you could change.
Which means more homes, schools, or even stores could spring up as your neighbor. And then there's the HOAs.
The issue with HOAs is they're all administered differently. Some of them do an amazing job, some of them a little bit overkill, and some of them, they're non-existent, and why would I even pay into it if they're not protecting my value?
Borden says always check out the rules and see if you can live happily with them. Oh, and it's worth finding a nosy neighbor, too.
The thing is, the neighbors know everything that's happened in that community, and they are happy to share. Good, bad, and the ugly. Usually the bad and the ugly.
Borden tells her clients to take a weekend and actually hang out in the neighborhood you're thinking about moving to, because oftentimes the community has just as much of an impact on happiness
as the floor plan. Len, Mia.
Always go check with the neighbors. They got the scoop. Thanks, Lauren. New technology that can